Rhexx, the lizard!
The Argonians, or Saxhalil in their native tongue, nailed it, are one of the beast races we see walking the lands of Tamriel. Their frightfully lizard-like appearance makes them outcast, shunned by most other races, but what most people are ignorant of is the Argonians' fascinating history and culture. Their homeland, Black March, known as Argonia before being incorporated into the Empire, consists of massive amounts of swamplands and poisonous fauna and flora. According to the accounts of travelers, those outside of the Argonian race are advised to never set foot into the Black March, as only the scaly-skinned people have built up an immunity to the poison and diseases that reside there. However, interestingly enough, after the Second Era, many races have actually set foot and settled in Black March. This is much to the dismay of the Argonians, as they had already been forced to make space for unwanted visitors years before. There are records which state that Black Marsh was not originally the race's home. Before the Elven and Nordic settlers found Cyrodiil, the Khajiit and Argonians roamed the lands themselves in tribes. They, like their Khajiit counterparts, were eventually driven to the southern portions of Tamriel and forced to make their homes there. The Argonians are a cultural mystery for the most part, putting a great deal of emphasis on a species of sentient trees known to them as the Hest. These trees are native to the Black Marsh and are said to all be connected as a single mind. Those who drink the Hest sap can then be telepathically communicated with by the tree itself, but anyone who isn't of the Argonian race will also suffer through all of the hallucinogenic effects. A great example of this is in the Elder Scrolls Oblivion during the Fighters Guild campaign. Through a mission to infiltrate the rival guild, the player must drink Hist sap and then save a village which was overrun by goblins. When the player returns to the village after the Hist sap effect wears off, they realize that the creatures they murdered were not actually goblins but in fact people. This just demonstrates the power the Hist have over those who interact with them. The Argonians themselves are rumored to be codependent with these trees, having been created from them. Yes, the Argonians actually came from the trees, believe it or not. The trees themselves are said to have been around since the very creation of Nerd, preceding even the elves. That would mean that the Hist are technically the first ever inhabitants of the planet, and since they are believed to have created the Argonians, then this race is a direct descendant of the oldest living creatures. Crazy, huh? What's more is that the Hist deem Sithis the true god and creator of everything. Since the Argonians worship the Hist, they are therefore worshipping the Dread Father, the very essence of darkness and death itself. With this new knowledge, it is no wonder that in their culture, Argonians born under the astrological sign the Shadow are given a special, dangerous role in society, known as Shadow Scales. From birth, these Argonians are trained to become skilled assassins. They have often been used throughout history by royalty to end conflict swiftly and cleanly. Bizarra in the Skyrim Dark Brotherhood is one of the most recent known Shadow Scales, though he hints at the fact that his order is extinct. So it is possible that this art is no longer being practiced in Black March anymore. On top of being cold-blooded assassins and tree worshippers, the Argonians are also experts in guerrilla warfare. After being enslaved by the Dark Elves of Morrowind for many years, the Argonians mastered the art of group attacks, hit and runs, and ambushes to overthrow an enemy. During the Oblivion crisis, when doors to Oblivion opened up in the Black March, the Daedra stood no chance against the fighting forces of Argonians sweeping through their defenses. Led by a political faction known as the Anshalil, they destroyed the enemy with such ease that the Daedric lieutenants closed off all the portals themselves to stop from being invaded. When it comes to warriors, the Argonians are often overlooked as squishy, useless lizards, but this proves it otherwise. In addition to battle prowess, the Argonians managed a very civilized society, or at least they did many years ago. Before recorded history, a large group of Argonians built large pyramid structures with intricate layouts called Shanmirs. This was stopped when their people were captured and enslaved by the Dummer, but this gives hope that the Argonians are much more than an eclectic bunch of nomadic tribes, as seen when they roamed Cyrodiil with the Khajiit. Now, despite their history, the Khajiits and Argonians are not actually fond of each other as a general rule. Many years ago, when the Khajiit were plagued with the Knaathan flu, they believed an Argonian shaman to be the creator of the infection and thus despised them for it. Though no war was waged between the two races, they still hold grudges and negativity towards each other. Before the release of Elder Scrolls Online, Black Marsh had never before been seen in a game, and therefore a lot of mystery still shrouded the province. We have since learned of the sights awaiting for us there, and even more surprising, another species of Argonians, the Naga, previously only described through writing, have been brought into the game. They are said to be nothing but riffraff, committing crimes and raiding Argonian villages, only leaving their homeland to smuggle drugs into Morrowind or Cyrodiil. What a bunch of assholes. The Naga are said to look far more monstrous than the Argonians we're used to seeing in game, with fangs and horrible eyes, yet the other races still view the Argonians as beasts.
Stupid lizard.
When I think about the strongest civilization in Tamriel, it is very hard for me not to pick the Argonians. I mean, think about it. Strong enough to completely own the Daedra by themselves. A land completely toxic to everyone else, so pretty much uninvadable. Every hist tree is pretty much just a sentry tower, able to telepathically warn Argonians of enemy positions. I'm just saying, if a massive invasion from Makavir happened, or if the elves try to kill everyone again, we would definitely know who would come out on top.